Welcome one and all again to the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Under-17, with the sun setting here over the Stade Municipal de Bereshid in Morocco. Anticipation crackling in the warm April air. The 2025 Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations already delivering its fair share of goals, drama and breakout stars, but tonight all eyes turning to Group D, where two teams on opposite ends of the footballing spectrum collide in a clash brimming with narrative. Mali, a seasoned heavyweight of African youth football, taking on the bold and somewhat untested Central African Republic, who are determined to carve out their own chapter in continental history. It's not just a group stage match, it is a story of legacy versus ambition, a battle between a team that knows how to win and one that's learning fast how to survive. Mali, the two-time Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations winners back in 2015 and 2017. They're eager to enter the fray with momentum after edging past Angola 2-1 in a gritty opening contest. That pedigree at this level unmatched, and they're taking on a team which, well, without them the story would be incomplete. Central African Republic, their very presence at the tournament a triumph. They're making their Africa Cup of Nations debut, but they've already turned heads by simply qualifying, becoming just the third team from the Central African Football Federations Union to ever do so. Their first taste of elite competition, well, it was an extremely harsh one, a 6-1 defeat to Côte d'Ivoire that exposed the steep learning curve ahead. Still, the squad filled with raw potential and underdog spirit. It's not ready to be written off just yet. They're coming up against a team with absolute pedigree, unmatched in Group D. Mali, the young Eagles, showing flashes of their flair and firepower against Angola that once made them the kings of the continent. Agile, disciplined, ruthless in transition. It's a Malian side that's not just here to compete, they're here to conquer the entire continent, and they know that with a win, it means a spot in the knockout rounds is secured and a growing claim to be title contenders once again. Not just that, if they do qualify for the knockouts, Mali will have qualified as well for the Under-17 World Cup. For the Central African Republic, a do-or-die moment, a final chance to show that they do belong on this stage. So we can expect fireworks, flying tackles, daring dribbles, and the kind of passion only youth football can provide. Most of all, though, expecting a game that reminds us why we watch football in the first place. Because, of course, anything can happen when dreams are on the line. The whistle is coming. The players are ready. And let's see what we have in store here in this upcoming Group D match. So much riding on it after that 0-0 draw between Ivory Coast.
Here, we're known for our sense of service. It's all about finding ways to support you. Day after day, doing everything we can to be useful, and providing energy in all its forms. Everywhere, every time, all across the continent.
Led out today by Ugandan referee Lucky Razake Kasalirwe and his team from Djibouti and Algeria. It's Roble and Asma Wahab. Fourth official for today, Reginald Collins Amoa from Ghana, who was in charge of previous matches in this same tournament, his first participation as a referee. A very nice, fresh and mixed refereeing outfit there that hope to take part in a game free of incident. Of course, there was such an incident in the previous game for the Central African Republic that saw their goalkeeper sent off against the Ivory Coast, a game which they were already so much under the cosh. And that means that the starting goalkeeper, Usman Bingiman, for today, well, he made a good showing of himself coming on as a substitute. And he'll have to do just that as the teams take to the pitch here. A beautiful stadium, the Bereshid Municipal Stadium here in Bereshid, Morocco, just south of Casablanca. Some stunning pitches there. If they're watered, of course, we can expect fast-flowing football. Nonetheless, Mali, a highly competitive and physical side, as they have always been. The West Africans up against their Central African opponents, both Francophone nations. They will understand each other on the pitch.
Ladies and
as we just prepare for the national anthems of both sides. Always a proud moment, especially for the Central African Republic, taking part in their very first tournament at this level. Let's hear from the teams now as they sing.
السيدات والسادة، المرجو الوقوف إن كان بالإمكان من أجل النشيد الوطني لإفريقيا الوسطى. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the national anthem of Mali. أيها السيدات والسادة، المرجو البقاء واقفين من أجل النشيد الوطني لمالي.
Les Aiglonettes, the Little Eagles, finishing off the anthems there. Riding a wave of confidence after beating Angola 2-1 in the last match. Their tactical approach expected to leverage experience and attacking prowess, opening game demonstrating resilience and the ability to capitalize on scoring opportunities. Key players to watch, including their forward line, who have shown clinical finishing skills. But let's look at the Central African Republic, because that man in picture, Ousmane Bingimal, comes in after the red card to Giovanni Guida-Henzo in the match against Ivory Coast. Changes at the back also see Joshua Balande, the number 24, coming in for Damon Yandoka. And then others changes see Nelson Amadi, the number 4, in the midfield. And he comes in for Edwin Titalom, who started the last match. Anan Otto up front now, being pushed up from the midfield position, the number 12, having scored the consolation goal against the Ivory Coast last time out. A well-taken finish, him and Bingimal, the 2 youngest players tonight for the Central African Republic, with Bingimal himself born the day after Christmas in 2009. Match officials, as mentioned, led by Lucky Kasalirwe from Uganda. Kasalirwe, who took charge of Eswatini against Cameroon in a recent World Cup qualifier. There is VAR, of course. Brighton Chimene and Hagag Ibrahim, the assistant, Chimene from Zimbabwe and Ibrahim from Egypt, hoping that they won't be called into too much work. As for Mali, they've also changed their goalkeeper. Yanis Sako starts this match in place of Lamine Sinaba from the game against Angola. Same back line that started that game, as is the same midfield. Up top, Sungalo Koulibaly gets a start thanks to his goal, the number 7, scoring against Angola. And that means that Mohamed Diarra drops down to the bench. Mohamed Doumbia, the left back who received a yellow card, is not in the squad today. The number 18 left out, possibly saving him against the Ivory Coast in a crunch match later on. Well, it all depends. If they manage to get through here, they can immediately start to freshen up their squad in that game against the Ivory Coast. Of course, Cameroon, or rather Mali, up against the Central African Republic. And it must be said that Bertin Boulongue, the coach for the Central African Republic, before this tournament said that they weren't here just to make up the numbers. They were here to compete, and they want to really show a strong standing here. And what better occasion than under the floodlights as we hear the menacing countdown to this Group D match ring out across the stadium, brilliantly supported for both teams. And Mali get us underway. The young Eagles going from right to left in their white kits. Central African Republic playing in blue, captained by Dertan Selombi, the number 5 centre-back. You can see him right next to goalkeeper Bingimal. Mali will be captained by Issa Tunkara, the number 6. Early touch now for Tiemoko Bert. And you can expect physicality from Mali. 2 times winners. They will know that history is on their side for this crunch match. As for the Central African Republic, that game against the Ivory Coast was the heaviest opening day loss by an under-17 team in the tournament's history. And naturally, the biggest loss of the tournament so far. Really wanting to rectify it. Mahamadou Konate on the ball now, passing back to his centre-back, Bertet. There's Abubakar Kamara on the ball, a young 14-year-old, the youngest player on the pitch. In fact, born after the World Cup in 2010. That just gives you an indication. It starts to feel old for us here in the commentary gantry. Issa Tunkara passing back to his centre-back. They're just getting the feel for the ball, Mali here. Winners in 2015 and 17. And now trying to play through the lines. This might reach the number 9. Jikura Bomba looking so interested, but already Ousmane Bingimal called into action. And they won't want an injury to their goalkeeper here because the Central African Republic do not have any replacement goalies on the bench. After Giovanni Guitan Enzo was sent off. Just feeling the after effects of that challenge there, Bingimal. Bertin Boulang hoping for some kind of a response. The head coach of this historic qualifying side has worked extensively in youth football in the Central African Republic, and up against a man with a very focused and balanced high-tempo attacking system. Talking, of course, about Adama Diefla Diallo, appointed back in July 2024. Taking over from Soumaila Koulibaly, who previously led the team and reached the semi-finals in 2023. Diallo now in charge of his first tournament, and this is his second game in charge, hoping for a repeat result as to what we saw against Angola. Good to see Ousmane Bingimal back on his feet. Here is the goalkeeper for the Central African Republic, recovered after a bit of a bang from Jikura Bomba, who had every right to go for that ball. Lionel Kodane was the sacrificial lamb after Giovanni Guitan Enzo was sent off. And now can actually affect the game a lot better. Number 11 putting pressure on Tiamoko Berthe. But Mali very assured in defense. It took a stunning Angolan header to find the back of the net and pin them back, at least in the last match. But it was Jikura Bomba and then Songalo Koulibaly with the winner. Mali just probing here in the back line, trying to break this first line of defense caused by the young Wild Beasts attack. They do pick it up with Kodane. All the way back though to Kamara, and he does very well to turn his striker. Keita looking down the line, but the CAR do get it back, and that's already so much better than what we saw against the Ivory Coast, stringing some passes together. And actually getting stuck in here, the Central African Republic showing a little bit of bite, but they have to be wary because Mali are through here. And just as he did in the game against Côte d'Ivoire, Bingimal forced into a fantastic save. They might have lost 6-1 in that match, but the substitute goalkeeper really showed his quality as we just have a bit of a melee in the middle of the park. Martinian Goporo is the injured player just down on the ground there. The number 9 SCAF player. Felt that quite hard into the tackle. And may have just gotten a toe in his shin. It's not easy though. Look at this chance. Straight at the goalkeeper from Jikura Bomba. But you have to say, Ousmane Bingimal's positioning was absolutely spot on. And he manages to make his body so big as well for such a small kid. Really one of the bright sparks of their campaign so far. But once again, the goalkeeper needing attention, this time on his arm. Maybe could do with some long sleeves. A few grazes here and there are to be expected. Seems like he's okay though, as his defense just come together for a bit of an indaba. Nelson Amadi and captain Bertin Selombi trying to keep that disciplined, structured back line, also possibly forcing the offside trap to good effect. Abubakar Kamara looks for his options in the midfield. Turns back though to his defensive partner, Tiamoko Bert. Disappointed to concede that goal against Angola. It was an absolutely dominant display. Mali just really playing the patient game before looking to expose the Central African Republic with the long ball. But they are caught off sides, and that just shows you the value of that high line all working in tandem. Josue Palanda into the side today, the Academy FCF player. Also a youngster at just 15 years old. It does seem that actually it was a free kick. Apologies for that. So Mali with an early chance of breaking the deadlock. Songalo Koulibaly with that winner against Angola. He's looking eager over the ball. It's going to be swinging in. It's a decent delivery. Has to be headed away. It comes back in and safely gathered by Bingimal. Not rushed into trying to punch the ball out and letting Bomba try and make a menace of himself, but all to no avail for the Little Eagles. Ball poked out into the midfield. Issa Tunkara gives it back to his defense. Receives it again. This is very well played by the Malians. Out wide now to the number 20. Lamine Keita. Here he is. And does well to just evade the tackle. The number 4 and 5 just working it out between themselves. Lots of passes. Mali converting 2 of their 15 shots in the opening match. It was a conversion rate of just roughly 13.3%, and they'll be hoping that at least when the opportunities do come their way, that they'll be making more of them, just perhaps a little bit more clinical up top. There's an area where they could improve. They do get it back to their striker, back to feet, unable to control it though. And now the young wild beasts, they can pick it up. Some good challenges flying in. An honest approach as Martinian Goporo seems to be back to his good old self. This throw taken by Yohan Molondoko, the Academy FCF player. And not taking any chances there, Abubakar Kamara. A very mixed starting 15 from Mali, just in terms of where the players are playing, all based in Mali, scattered with a few teammates. Whereas for the Central African Republic, at least 7 of them play for Academy FC. Now, an early shot on target with the instep. It's good to see at least taking a chance, and you never know. If you buy your ticket, you might just scrape a win in the lottery. Still 0-0 here with just over 11 minutes played at the Bereshid Municipal Stadium here just south of Casablanca. Selected as one of the venues. It has hosted Motola Pro matches and domestic cup games in Morocco before. Now, team in blue just trying to gain control of the ball, but that's really well done by Kodane. Plays it through. Goporo, he's looking for options. He might just go at it alone. Goporo across the face of goal. It was the right idea. He was just shepherded to the side and maybe closed off the angle by the Malian defense, using their experience. But it shows you already what the Central African Republic missed in that first game against Cote d'Ivoire. Not just the numbers, but maybe the creativity of Lionel Kodane. Anan Otto playing a striking role today, the number 12 for the Central African Republic. Just putting his defender under a bit of pressure. Habubakar Kamara again choosing the touchline as opposed to trying to find his teammates. It's taken by Molondoko. They might just win a corner here. Well, no, the linesman has given it the way of Mali. We'll just see this. It did seem to take a touch off the Eagles' boot. Maybe Lamine Keita a little bit lucky there with that one. The play does go on. Early positive signs though for the young boys in blue. A much better start than what we saw against the Elephants in the first match. Trying to get it down onto the ground and just biting at the ankles of Issa Tunkara. Chipped over the top, and this is where Mali are dangerous. Might just save it through Bomba. It's it back through the legs. Just for a split second, you thought that Seydou Dembele, the number 10, might have been in there. Just shows that the young wild beasts, Lefov, Cadet, they can't rest on their laurels. They cannot take anything for granted, because before you know it, Mali are just in with one decent ball over the top. They're a really good physical team, full of pace here. Ibrahima Diakite plays it across the midfield, well collected by Dembele. Decides to go back though to Lamine Keita. Full of confidence in every single ball that they receive, the young Eagles. And even though it might look like a trick, it's a calculated one, except for that pass there. And that was easily picked up by Soumaila Fani, that kick, and maybe now, no. Anan Otto couldn't capitalize on that slight miscontrol. And the ball starts again with Yanis Sako. The QRM goalkeeper back into the team, and he might be called upon to make a save over here. And it just rose a bit over the bar. Apologetically, Dario Ngombe just raises his hands and says sorry to the rest of his team, because maybe could have done a little bit better, at least getting it on target, but it was always rising with his body positioning. Just scooping under the ball somewhat. But once again, positive signs. And it does make this group very interesting, especially after that 0-0 draw between the Ivory Coast and Angola early on. Ivory Coast currently sitting on 4 points, Mali on 3. Well, as things stand, they would be on 4 as well. And they do come across here. Now Mali, they could be in though. And it's still picked up by Bomba. Surely a chance here. Oh, it's another fantastic save. Bingi Mao is just brilliant in those situations. It does look like it wouldn't have counted in any case. And we will get confirmation of that, but the goalkeeper wasn't to know. No offsides there, but on that second pass, yes, absolutely. And you have to give credit there to Asma Wahab, the Algerian lineswoman. calling that offsides before any further consequence from that Mali effort. Goal kick now from Bingimal. Mali's midfield rising high to meet it, and they'll get the throw in here. Keita looks down the line, but miscontrol though from Sungalo Koulibaly. And now they come driving forward. Goporo has forced a throw in from Tiomoko Berthe, who had to come across the 17-year-old. Not the most content of appearances there from Adama Diafla Diallo. And a free kick in a fantastic position, especially from the left foot for the Central African Republic. Really forcing the Little Eagles into some proper decision-making. It was decently chested, and it did seem like a 50-50 coming together after Martinian Goporo managed to get it down. Anan Otto, he does have a great strike on him, but it looks like Evra Kengomba, the left back, is going to be taking this. The 17-year-old AS Saint-Priest fullback. It does favor the left foot, and of course at this level, with the players not really taking up the goal mouth the same way as their senior opponents, there is every chance that a free kick on target could result in a goal. And he does go straight for goal, but the wall does its job. And Mali looking to break with pace now. Taken out by Soumaila Fane. Goes down the line, and it's decently picked up by Seydou Dembele. Goes around the outside, a burst of pace, and has to be well tackled there by the captain, Selombi. Gets the applause of his teammates, the number 5. Mali now with a corner kick. They are a real dangerous set-piece threat, especially with their physical presence. Malians known for being some of the tallest in the world, and it starts at a very young age. It's going to be taken from this right-hand side, swinging in. A really deep corner kick, and the header is met, and it's just chested in. A brilliant header from Jikura Bomba, but it was the number 5, Abubakar Kamara, the young 14-year-old, who was just there in the right place at the right time. The shirt of Mohamed Doumbia, who is unable to be part of this crucial match. And he just had to be there to meet the header. And you have to say it looked like a real set-piece routine just worked on the training ground. Deep to Jikura Bomba, who rose so tall, headed across goal. And Kamara, well, he just had to be there and chest it into the net. Mali opening the scoring, and maybe you have to feel somewhat for the Central African Republic, because they have more than shown up in this match so far. Kamara, possibly the youngest goal scorer of the tournament so far. The 14-year-old, born on the 11th of August 2010. That's even after the World Cup had finished back in South Africa, which is again an astonishing statistic, and he's now got the goal that could see Mali qualify for the Under-17 World Cup. But not if the young Wild Beasts have anything to say about it. They do have a corner kick in a rapid response. Yanis Sakho just ordering his defense around. replacing Lamine Sinaba. Goalkeeper on the bench today, who started against Angola, and now they have to defend this corner kick. And it's a brilliant take out of the air. And quickly setting Mali on their path for a counter. But well held up by the defense. Looking for Dario Ngombe. And Ngombe just shielded out of play. Every single tackle or defensive effort being applauded by Les Aiglonettes. That time Mahamadou Konate at right back. Well, it just shows you what a threat they are from those set pieces. Mali absolutely making the most of that corner routine. Looking to reinforce their status as a dominant force in the under-17 competitions. The Malians, they competed in the West African Football Union Zone A qualifiers, facing strong regional opponents. Tactical discipline, experience evident. They navigated through the group stages and the knockout rounds, and here we are in the finals proper. Mali playing the patient, waiting game. And so far it is bearing fruit. Headed back, though, by the Central African Republic. And it's picked up in midfield by Lucas Betulum. He can get another shot at it in a snatched effort. Difficult to take on the volley. But already, I think if you look back at the game against the Ivory Coast, I think the Central African Republic have already taken more shots in this match with around 24 minutes played than they did manage in that entire 90 minutes and added time. Neatly around the corner from Mali, and they're looking to play around the outside, but it has to be well defended by Kengomba, whose free kick didn't manage to beat the wall. A very good position for the Central Africans. Lionel Kodane just caught on it. Goes back to Bingimal, who was unfortunate to be beaten. But not much that he could have done. Had to rely on his players making sure that Jikura Bomba didn't get hold of the ball, and they're going to have to do the same. Yes, Bomba! What a goal! But the offside flag comes to his dismay. Well, didn't he take that so well, though? It may just go up to VAR for some clarification, but he really did do well there. Just watching here as the ball comes to you. Oh, I tell you what. It's not such an obvious thing. And Seydou Dembele thought he had provided the perfect assist. I would be surprised if this isn't sent upstairs. Just waiting to get the decision, though, from the VAR team. You have to take your chances, even if you might be thinking that the flag will go up. Because upon review, this very well could be Mali 2, Central African Republic 0. Jikura Bomba latching on to Seydou Dembele's through ball. Lucky Kasarilwe just getting confirmation. And it obviously was very tight, hence the time being deliberated over this goal. So play goes on. It was offsides and it doesn't count. But Mali, they know that the chances will still come their way. Looking here through Koulibaly, goes around the outside. Fane trying to get into the box. They get the early cross in and it has to be dealt with. Bit of a high boot though from Goporo. Does manage to though evade the Malian midfield for the time being, but then they do well to defend it. And Kamara goes back to Sako. 15-year-old goalkeeper. Playing in a delightful pink today. One thing it has to be said, this Malian kit is something absolutely tremendous. And now they are looking to break the lines again. They are so dangerous, especially that young man, Chikura Bomba. Finally, a little bit of a work up the pitch, though. Nelson Amadi caught off of it, and the big number 4 providing that anchoring role there for the Central African Republic, unable to spark anything in that move. Goes back into the midfield here. Issa Tonkara, captain, playing it quick and neat work around the legs to ride the tackle there. Dembele, such a dangerous customer. Goes out wide to Keita, left back with an early ball. Not the worst, but just a little bit too much on that. Ended up being a really good call there, once again, by the assistant referee, Asma Wahab. And they still can't manage to get at the Central African Republic. Look at Mali just breaking through. Still have it in the midfield, this time picked up by Lionel Kodane. Plays it short, and this is better from the young wild beasts. All up until a point, and now showing some good composure, the Eagles. But now it's picked up by Ananoto. Plays it around the outside. Betolum gets it in, and still trying for the shots, but Mali doing just ever enough. Trying to not get in each other's way though in the midfield. Oh, neatly poked around and released, but Bomba couldn't control it. They might get a second chance at it here, Mali. Konate playing calmer now, back to Tonkara. Everything seems to go through the captain from Étoile du Monde. Very neat triangles through the midfield. Always seem to find their men. It really is a delight to watch these young Malian players. Central African Republic trying the long option instead. It doesn't seem to work, and look at this ball going through here. They might be in. Bomba trying with the layoff to young Songalo Koulibaly. The 2 goal scorers from the past match combining there to great effect, and Koulibaly's first touch just a little heavy. And there is the confirmation. Oh wow, a hairline separating the boot and the shoulder. Chikura Bomba can consider himself mightily unlucky. A few atoms in it, really, because it was such a great finish past Usman Bingimal. As it is, the score remains 1-0 thanks to that chested goal by Abubakar Kamara, Mali's centre-back. But Bomba with the assist, showing why he's such a dangerous player as well. Mali managing to penetrate here in the midfield. Playing across the line, and they might still latch onto this one. No, just a little bit misguided with the pass. Back now from Kamara. Looking for options always through the lines, and look at the pace. Oh, he rounds the keeper, but can't get enough purchase on the follow-on shot. Bomba really exploding into life. And he's such a handful, especially for the likes of Dertan Selombi and Joshua Palanda in the centre-back pairing for the Central African Republic. Good work again by Seydou Dembele to, well, it seemed like he may have won the throw. The flag was given the other way, but the referee has given the throw into Mali ultimately. Might still receive it here through Ibrahim Diakite. Another really raking pass and not taking any chances. Yohan Molondoko sliding across. Still very much contributing to this, the Central African Republic, as the header has to be tipped over the bar. Didn't seem like it was going to cause any issues for Bingibal, but he couldn't take any chances whatsoever off the back of Bomba and off the top of the crossbar. So another corner, and how Mali would love to extend their lead with a similar routine that saw them take the lead in the first place. Another in-swinger, and it goes off the Central African head. It's for us. You can hear Adama Diallo shouting to his team, because there is another corner kick. Nearly grazed the shorts of Bomba. But as it is, it's going to be a corner taken from the left side. Sungalo Koulibaly swinging with the right foot, doesn't beat the first man. A really poor corner from the number 7, unfortunately. Central African Republic still managed to have around 40% of possession against the Ivory Coast, despite that loss last time out. That's 6-1. Completing 212 passes, and it just shows, once again, not here to just make up the numbers. They are here to compete, and it goes into the midfield. A very neat ball there by Nelson Amadi. It comes across. And it seems like it was an offside position. Roble, Eleye Roble, the Djiboutian linesman with that flag. And if Mali manage to reach the quarterfinals, they'll be participating in their 10th final, which will reach the knockout rounds for an 8th time. That levels them with Nigeria. So much at stake for both sides, with the scoreline 1-0. It really has been a thoroughly entertaining watch, and look at the pressure being put there on Kamara. Mali just working it out short, using the triangles, and then they get lost again. Otto looks through, oh, and he just was looking back at Dario Ngombe. That pass was absolutely on, and Anan Otto can consider himself unfortunate not to be the man who has provided the assist for the equalizer. Ngombe just didn't look over his shoulder on time. But again, a warning sign for the Malian midfield. The Eagles a bit complacent in giving the ball away. Just like that again. But this time, they do evade it and might still get a chance here, riding the tackle, doing very well for laying off the pass. Picked up by Kamara. A little toe poke through, and Bomba just returning from an offsides position. Now Amadi. And needed to be a little bit more relaxed there in terms of that pass. Brought up well by Diakite. Still has the ball here, the 16-year-old. And then Goporo, used to attacking, comes back for the defense. Keita goes back into the midfield. That time it is a foul from one of the smallest players on the pitch, Dario Ngombe. Looks to go long and just half slices that clearance and allows Mali to attack at pace. Koulibaly trying to go around the outside. Appeals for a handball. Somewhat half-hearted though. And now looking to respond straight away. That is a foul once again by Dario Ngombe, who did receive a yellow card against the Ivory Coast. That's a bit of a painful one. Studs on the back of the player. And we just see that slide coming in. I'm not sure if Kasalirwe is going to take that into account. We have seen those kind of slides being given. It would be, of course, very unfortunate if this does result in a penalty for the Central African Republic. Just asking the players to wait, though. Of course, they do have to follow all protocol here. There's a reason they do have the VAR installed. Both coaches looking pensive as they're waiting for that decision. And no penalty ultimately given for the handball. Deemed too close to the body. The arm at least, and Central African Republic do get away with that one. Mali trying to get it up the field, but the ball not really being released from these tightly packed midfield spaces. Both sets of players playing with a high line here. That means you might see some bunching in the midfield. Mali, who have lost their second group game twice in their history, both times to Gambia, though. It was back in 2005 and 2011. They went down 3-2 and 1-0 respectively. They're hoping that this won't be a repeat of that. It would require a gargantuan effort from the Central African Republic. Another painful one, the studs on the back of the Achilles. Didn't seem like that was done intentionally, though, but we will see again. Leave it up to the refereeing team to make that decision. Always very interesting to know what goes on behind the scenes, and all the replays that are just being revised Frustration, though, being shown by Bertrand Boulango. The Ugandan referee, who was a fourth official when Mali took on Angola in that recent victory. And he is going to go to the screen here to see exactly what this challenge merits. It was a very sore one on the back of the ankle there. Nelson Amadi with his first start of this tournament, having come on as a substitute against the Ivory Coast, and possibly at danger of being the second red card that the Central African Republic receives in 2 matches. All due process being followed here by the officials. Of course, we like to see that. We don't want any decisions being made too rashly. But his eyes were on the ball when his foot landed on Issa Tunkara's back heel. The captain not injured, but it could have easily resulted in one, and that's probably what Lucky Kasalire is taking into account. Provided just 1 yellow in his recent World Cup qualifier between Eswatini and Cameroon, that 0-0. So he's not really known for dishing out the cards. But it looks like he has come to some kind of a decision here. And what color will it be? A red card for Nelson Amadi. The tackle deemed dangerous enough. And the Central African Republic have to do it all again with 10 men. It was deemed dangerous enough. Studs in the back of the ankle of Issa Tunkara. And Bertrand Boulango can't believe his team's luck. 2 red cards in 2 games. Of course, the first one for a goalkeeper handling error outside of the 18-yard area. This time, a dangerous tackle by Nelson Amadi, the FC Metz midfielder. But they're not letting it deter them. Here comes Dario Ngombe. But if that task wasn't difficult enough, now the Central African Republic have to do it with 10 men for the best part of an entire half of football. Looking to win the corner kick, but unable to do so there through Johan Molondoko. And we can probably expect Anan Otto to drop back into the midfield now and reprise his role from the first game. And there you see him immediately deeper with Lino Kodane still on the field. At least he doesn't have to make way this time. But Mali hoping to profit off of that man advantage. Taking it through Somalia Fane. Very neat turn and unable to get past his player there, Seydou Dembele. Still has it though, and whips the cross in, just over the goalkeeper and the striker. Bingimal was scrambling, as Njikura Bomba also couldn't stretch far enough. A wicked ball in by Seydou Dembele. And just lunging for that as we see 6 additional minutes at the end of the first half. At least 3 VAR checks and 1 resulting in a red card. Checks for penalties as well. Coming through the back of the player, and a free kick does go the Central African way. Back into the midfield. Sliding tackle, and Mali might just emerge with it here. No, that's done very well. Goporo goes back into the midfield. Here's Otto. A lovely chip around the outside and might just get in ahead of the goalkeeper. Yannis Sako, though, provides it to his fullback. And now Mali looking to break, but it's not the kind of quality on the pass needed. Sako just calming things down, though. Playing it short again. This time Sumaila Fane picks up the ball, and Mali hoping to use that overlap to their advantage once again. Ibrahima Diakite plays across the line, but that's a really hopeful ball. Somehow works out to Laminia Keita. Koulibaly. Keita again, back into the midfield. Now Diakite. This is lovely stuff. Diakite receives the 1-2. Just a little stab out. Protects the ball, and the young wild beasts might just come out with it. Mali, though, still have it, and we're not done with the extra time yet. Tunkara playing further up the field now. Gives it off to Koulibaly. Koulibaly back into the center. Here's maybe a chance for Fane. Just absolutely thumped out by Kodane. You know, Kodane helping out his defense. And he might have broken the line here. Jikura Bomba, he's got to play it to his side. Oh, he's just overshot that. How crucial could that miss be? Really had to take that. But finally the flag does come up. Maybe saving the blushes of the Little Eagles, because that time it was easier to miss. It was easier to score than to miss, rather, but you see he didn't time his run correctly. Just on the back of Evra Kegombe. And will it prove costly? Oh, it doesn't seem like it there. Very well read by Sako, who has had a few shots at him, but no real saves to make as of yet. Now Koulibaly. You can already see the wealth of numbers that they have in the midfield there. Mali going over the top this time, finding Sumaila Fane. Goes straight in, and it's just a desperate attempt to clear the ball. Bert, who we've hardly mentioned. And it's an easy header. Sure. We said easy. Jikura Bomba had to use all of his neck muscles to strain into that one. And still can't evade that crucial lineswoman's flag. On second viewing, though, clearly onside. Bomba. And there is the half-time whistle. Mali edging ahead 1-0 thanks to that goal by Abubakar Kamara after a set piece going right to the back post, which was headed down by Jikura Bomba. Kamara then chesting it into the goal. That was the first talking point. The second one coming close towards the end of the first half as Nelson Amadi, the central midfielder, number 4 for the Central African Republic, was sent off for a dangerous tackle on Issa Tunkara, Mali's captain. The Little Eagles with all the confidence going into the break, but it's been a much better showing by the young wild beast, the Central African Republic, recovering after that game against Côte d'Ivoire and really showing themselves up well here up until the point of that red card. It could have been anyone's game at that point, but it goes in at 1-0. Adama Diallo and his side, as things stand, would be qualifying for the next round on 6 points and qualifying for the World Cup. They'll be wanting to take this as deep into the competition as possible. Mali with the whole game almost wrapped up in terms of possession. But then you see these shots and the Central African Republic doing very well indeed, equaling the Little Eagles in that department. Very even game in most aspects, just maybe the set pieces, the undoing of the Central African Republic. Mali capitalizing on that. 75% possession though, and so much running to come, especially with 10 men. And you think that the team in blue may just be overpowered here, but of course it's football, and nothing better than to see what happens out in the pitch in front of us instead of debating on paper and with those statistics. We'll be back for the second half in just a few minutes. Mali heading in 1-0 to the good. Second match day underway between the Central African Republic in blue and Mali in white. Both teams trying to get the win for completely different reasons. The young wild beasts hoping to avenge that 6-1 opening day thrashing to the Ivory Coast. Mali hoping to make it 2 wins out of 2 after beating Angola 2-1 in their opening match. An early free kick there taken by Sungale Koulibaly, headed back, but well grasped by Ousmane Bingibal, coming back into the side after Giovanni Guida Enzo was sent off in the match against Côte d'Ivoire. They had their chances early on, the pass by Anan Otto, finding his man, and then a shot over the bar by Dario Ngombe, apologizing to his team for taking on that option. And here came the goal, a very deep corner, headed down by Chikora Bomba, and then chested by the young 14-year-old Abubakar Kamara for his first of the tournament, and Mali's opener. Just evading all the defense, the tall number 9. And they had further chances. Jumba Bomba, rather, thinking that he had managed to keep himself onside for a brilliant finish, only to be flagged, and you just see an absolute whisker separating the boot and the shoulder, meaning that it remained at 1-0. But then the most contentious moment of the match, studs into the back of the hill. Nelson Amadi, the Central African Republic number 4 midfielder, sent off. The second red card for the team in blue in 2 matches, and it went 1-0 for Mali into the break.
Feeling like I'm fresh out boost. If they want the drama, got the ooze. Ship the whole crew to the cruise ship. Doing shit you don't even see in movies. Ride with me, boss. I got a hard head with her ass off. She want the last name with the ring on it. Cause I pulled out $1 million cash, told her plank on it.
But you are, you don't be understand.
Just about ready to get underway here for the second half of the Group D match between the Central African Republic and Mali. CAR, let's remind you, playing with 10. And that's because Nelson Amadi, the central midfielder, was sent off for a dangerous tackle on Mali's captain Issa Tunkara. And that was after Mali had already edged ahead through Abubakar Kamara, the central defender, chesting the ball in after a corner delivery headed down by Njikura Bomba into the path of Kamara. So that's where we stand. A completely uphill battle for the Central African Republic, hoping to get their first ever points on the board in this competition. Mali have won their second group game at the last two tournaments they participated in, winning in 2017 and 2023. So they'll be confident that they can do the same and get the job done against the team in blue, the Central African Republic debutants on this competition. just about ready to get underway back again here at Bereshit Casablanca. This 10,000 capacity stadium. It's been very well attended by fans for both sides. And the Central African Republic starts straight away by giving the ball back to Mali. Passed by Lucas Betolum. Toe poked out wide to Somalia Fane. Uses the width of the field to good effect, and it goes straight to the goal scorer, Chikura Bomba. He's such a physical presence, and all he had to do was just rise high and meet it. Bomba with his second goal of the tournament. And we've practically just come back out onto the pitch, and Mali are already 2 goals to the good. Excellent play there by Soumaila Fane. And what a ball this is. Certainly not offsides. And Chikura Bomba. He's been such a threat in the air throughout the whole match. He assisted the opener, and now he scored the second. And Mali are flying into the knockout stages. Heartbreak for the Central African Republic, who were already a man down. And a brilliant celebration there from the tall number 9, as young wild beasts just have to tend to their defender, who has hit the deck. Doesn't altogether look too pleased though, Adama Diallo. A harsh lesson here for Bertrand Boulong and his team, as it looks like Molondoko is back on his feet at least. Chikura Bomba, who had a goal disallowed for being offsides by pretty much millimeters, now gets his team 2 goals up. Literally 1 minute after the restart. Well, we'll be hoping that it doesn't transpire the same way as what we saw against Cote d'Ivoire for the Central African Republic. 6-1 in that first match. They faced 13 shots on target in that opening game, the most that any team has faced in a single game in this particular Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. And Mali have been looking quite dangerous indeed. Well shielded, just making sure that Lionel Kodane can't get past Mohamedou Konate there. The 15-year-old takes the throw in. Back into the midfield, and a foul given on Sungalo Coulibaly. Or rather, it was actually Ibrahim Diakite who was forced to ground there. Lamine Keita, who is a real physical attribute there at left back, and he drives forward, goes into the box. There's plenty of men here. There should be a goal. How he's missed is anyone's guess. One of the easiest chances of the game for Chikura Bomba. Excellent work to get it across the line. And in some capacity, who knows how, he has missed the goal. But another shot for the number 9. And another warning for the Central African Republic. So difficult at the best of times, but playing against a Mali side with this much confidence and this much fervor in attack, when you're down to 10, it feels like mission impossible. Still, the heads are up. If they can at least find their passes, the young wild beasts. Mali take the throw. Comes back into the midfield. That's a really great strength being shown, and another free kick and a yellow card here for Josué Palanda. A bit of a painful one again. We thought it was Palanda. It was actually Martinien Goporo, and he now receives his second yellow of the tournament so far. The challenge did seem to come though from Palanda, so it's not quite clear how Goporo ended up in the book there. As the substitutes are being readied, Jerry Bogote, who came on against the Ivory Coast as a sub, and Edwin Titalom, who started the match, are going to be the first replacements off the bench for Les Fauves Cadets. And here are the changes. Goporo, who was riding dangerously, is the first change. And then for the second game running, Lionel Kodane is taken off. Two attackers, and two attackers on straight away as well. Thrashed shot, and it might go deflecting for a corner kick here for Mali. Tango Bingimal, the goalkeeper of the Central African Republic, made 5 saves in their loss to Cote d'Ivoire. That was the second most by any goalkeeper in the first round in a single game. Hasn't made as many yet against Mali, but really nothing that he could do for those goals. And another set piece might be the undoing of the Central Africans here again. He has Mali, and that's a decent punch out by the goalkeeper, who was actually being fouled in the process. Soumaila Fane, the ASDB forward, just guilty there, and the ball straight away out of play from captain Dertin Selombi, who completed 30 passes in that first game, passing accuracy of 83%, which was the most in the team. Unable to find his man there. Of course, it is really complicated when you are missing such a key linchpin in midfield. Back to the goalkeeper, and just hurried a little bit. And looking to win it on the turn. Here's Fane, whose delicious ball led to the second goal. Couldn't make the same result with that cross there. Ousmane Bengimal unable to keep a clean sheet in this match. But again, one of the bright sparks, and he might have to just call his defense again. Play it up the line, just can't win possession though, and that will be another foul. The first contribution of Jerry Bogote. Throw in one by the number 10, Seydou Dembele. Dembele seen as one of the rising stars of Mali, product of the prestigious Jean-Marc Guillou Academy in Bamako. He's nicknamed Messi by his teammates, and he's doing really well there, the number 10. Comes back out to the goalkeeper. Bingimar goes down and somehow manages to find his player, but now they've released the Malian attack. Bit more possession play from the Central Africans. Game just not finding any kind of rhythm so far since the goal. Comes back to Yanis Sakho. So Central African Republic urging their team forward, winning it in midfield. Edwin Titalom does well to retain the ball. Chested down, won again by Diego Bogote, and that time it's taken off of his feet by Fane. Back into a defensive position. A 50-50 here with Koulibaly racing against Bogote again. That was actually Lucas Betolum, the number 21, who again has had quite a quiet game in the midfield. At least if their team is down and out, it's always great to see players with character showing for the ball. Just a reminder of those substitutions there. Leonard Kodane and Martin Ngoporo coming on for Edwin Titalom, who started the last match, the IS Saint-Priest player, as well as Jerry Bogote, who came on as a sub in that last game. Here is the young man they call Messi, chipping over, finding his striker. Mali still have it alive here, hoping to add a third. The strike is on, and a deflection takes it out for a corner kick. What a brilliant touch that was by Koulibaly. And unlucky to be met with the boot of the Central African player. So this time taken by Dembele himself. Another very deep corner kick. This routine, that time they've learned their lesson. Josue Palanda heading out before Bomba could cause any more damage. A short throw. Mali looking to win it, and that's another very sore one. And a yellow card immediately for Dario Ngombe, and that's his second yellow of the tournament as well, joining Martin Ngoporo on 2 yellows for the Central African Republic. And he really had to be careful there, because that was a similar challenge that saw Nelson Amadi red carded. Causing a bit of damage there to Ibrahim Diakite. But judging by his eager look to get back into play, can't say that it would be too bad. Nonetheless, having to watch themselves, Dario Ngombe, the forward of the Central African Republic, guilty for that tackle. back up onto his feet with the medical staff assisting. Not as animated as he was against the Ivory Coast. Dertin Belong can only just watch and hope that his team manages to evade these set-piece routines. Let's see what Mali can conjure up here. They do seem to be a team which enjoys at least a little bit of set-piece creativity. The free kick not being taken just yet. And we're just looking to see if there will be another check. It would be quite astonishing if the Central African Republic is reduced to 9 men for 2 similar tackles. This latest challenge by Dario Ngombe was seen on field as a yellow card, and it may just be upgraded to a red, which would really be a crazy circumstance to deal with. An unprecedented one for Lucky Khazake Kasalirwe. Well, here is the challenge. Seen as a yellow on the field. We did say he would be lucky to be staying on the field. Well, let's see what the referee, Lucky, has to say about it. Dario Ngombe. And that really is not a great tackle at all. An ankle breaker on Ibrahim Diakite. The one thing you can say, you're lucky that these players are not quite at their full form. But Ngombe is still a 17-year-old. And that's really got to hurt on the ankle. And the whole idea about the ref brandishing the cards is to be protecting the players from incidents like this. And there's a very strong possibility that the Central African Republic will be reduced to 9 men following this review. We'll wait and see. And the referee has made his decision. And he's reaching for his pocket. And that can only mean one thing. A cancellation of the initial yellow card is likely. And Ngombe could be in real trouble here. No yellow card. And it's a straight red for the number 14. And all of a sudden, it's 9 against 11. And Mali are 2 goals up. You can safely say that this game is all but wrapped up. And a devastating blow in their second match, in their very first Under-17 African Cup of Nations. The Central African Republic have their 3rd player sent off in just 2 games. This time, Dario Ngombe, the EFDY striker, has to make way. And now we just fear that the floodgates might open as far as Mali are concerned. If they do get a 3rd, well, you can also expect the substitutes to come on in earnest. Here is Seydou Dembele with a free kick. Playing it short, and now the deeper cross does come in. And the ball played to the outside of the box. A little dink over, has to be well dealt with by Selembi. And almost astonishingly, a break on here by Jerry Bogote. takes it around to the corner flag. He does have actually men in the box if he's a bit ambitious about it. And for all that effort now, they have to race back because Mali can look to counter. Fane. And looking to go through the lines. Well, what a ball that could have been for Bomba. Betulum giving the ball on to Edwin Titalon. Not really sure what kind of preparation this gives Mali, though, for the knockout stages. And perhaps they will be grateful that they then have to play the Ivory Coast in the last match to really test themselves against one of the tournament favorites. Because then at least they will know what they can expect going in to those final stages. Well, there we go. It's 2-0. Goals from Abubakar Kamara and Njikura Bomba. But now the Central African Republic, well, can they get one back here? The shot straight at the goalkeeper, but a shot on target with just 9 men. And that is amazing. Edwin Titalom on the end of that. And that was a real chance. But he just scuffed it, couldn't get the power behind it. And that will be pleasing for the coaches to see. A little bit of ambition, despite all the odds stacked against them. And even winning the ball in the midfield spaces. Titalom plays it to the number 20, Jerry Bogote. He decides to go back. Bogote picks it up on the left wing now. This is really neat stuff there by Evra Kikambe. Dembele. All of a sudden, the young beasts, the young wild beasts, have a bit more structure to their game, playing with 9 men. And it's posing the Little Eagles a bit of a problem here. They want to wrap this game up and get ready for their 3rd and final match as soon as possible. And at least give some reserve players a chance to shine on the biggest African stage. But it's not over just yet. Despite everything that we have said so far. That ball just carving through the midfield now. Edwin, or rather, the number 8 there, gets the ball picked off of him. And there we go. Excellent work by Titalom. Possibly unfortunate not to be starting the game as the ball just makes its way back to Yannis Sako, who's had to make his first save of note in the second half. More patient build-up as we see Seydou Dembele, the number 10, just dropping a bit deeper right now. Looking to go down the line, use the pace and stretching the legs of Koulibaly. But it's stolen off of him by Molondoko. Well, this can happen sometimes where your team has such an advantage numerically. And then psychologically, you just can't capitalize. That wasn't the case, of course, with the opening goal of the second half. But now Mali looking to make the most of that handball, which has just been given. Headed back into the area. It's a bit dangerous, though. And finally, it's Selombi who hacks it clear. A picture of calm there, Tiemoko Bert. Out wide now. Konate giving it off to Dembele, who's running the show from the midfield area. Once again to Koulibaly. All of the Central African Republic's boys behind the ball. Goes right through. Oh, and it's just behind the striker. And now looking to break with Titalom. Finds Bogote. And just shoved off of it, but no foul given. And the young Wild Beasts still have it. Well, they did till a point. Amazingly, they do still have it in the midfield. Mali now. And there should be an opportunity at a break here. If you can just get it onto the turf. Dembele, and he's fouled. That time by Titalom, and it's not the prettiest of challenges, it must be said. So Ousmane Savane, a forward, and Mahamadou Traoré, the midfielder from Players Dream, there on the pitch after these substitutes. Shungalo Koulibaly, the goal scorer against Angola, is the first substitute to make way. And there on the other side of the pitch is Ibrahim Diakite, who was challenged by Dario Ngombe, and then it was Ngombe who received a red card for that really poor tackle. Fresh legs now for Mali, and you can imagine that they'll be looking to make a few more of these substitutions. Ball goes into a dangerous area in the box, and it has to be blocked. Poked out again by Bomba. Across now by Berthe. A bit more possession being shown. Kamara passes to his left wing. Goes across the line, and it's very well defended as Bingimal picks up the ball. Keita, who is now playing in the left back position with his left wing. They both play at the same club, Ousmane Savane, ASB. And there's a confirmation of those changes. Picked up though by Anan Otto, a rare touch for him, and a rare yellow card for Mali as well. Not the first involvement that Savane would have anticipated, especially with his team 2 players and 2 goals up. Just a little bit too robust in that tackle. He receives Mali's first yellow card of the game. Now it's on Kora. It's intercepted. They have to start again with Kamara. Now to Bert. Mohamedou Kanate from FC Diarra. Just danced through. That's better work there from the substitute Mahamadou Traoré. And now Mali. Well, there could be danger here. This should be a third, unless there's a brilliant tackle from Declan Selombi. The captain leading from the back, and it's come at a cost as well. Only for the flag to be raised later on, and we'll see with that pass being put through. Well, just a foot offsides, but Selombi didn't know that, and he just lunged there. A great tackle it was, but a painful one at that, and just reiterating the dominance in possession of Mali. But it is down, astonishingly, from that first half. They were 75% in terms of their possession as we reach the 75th minute here near Casablanca. Just look at the second goal. Directed it so well down into the turf, heading it down and past a hapless Usman Bingimal. Crestfallen, it may seem, but the quality of Mali showing through, and we can only hope that the Central African Republic will be back in tournaments to come now that they've got a taste of their first ever Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. A defeat here, of course, would result in them crashing out the tournament, and Mali may make it safe. Yeah, how on earth is that not a goal? And even more crazy is how the Central African Republic nearly countered there. Usman Bingimal and his positioning is just absolutely spot on, and he might be employed further here. Bomba unable to get it through. It's caused a collision and the play will have to stop. They certainly can't do without their goalkeeper. But it just seems like a coming together, a bit of a knock. Doing everything they could there between Molondoko and Bingimal to stop the threat of Njikura Bomba. And they've come off pretty badly, it seems. Well, at least the goalkeeper's back up on his feet, and hopefully Molondoko will be safe as well. But how on earth Mali did not score from this opportunity? Staggered his run so well, and that is quite amazing. With the instep, maybe came in almost unexpected, but he has to be finishing those chances. Njikura Bomba. Musa Njikine, the FC Masi forward, about to be introduced to this game. And it seems like there is just a penalty check going on here, as Bomba was sandwiched between the goalkeeper and the fullback. It would just rub salt into the wound at this point for the Central African Republic. But to their absolute credit, they haven't capitulated like we feared. The Central Africans also readying Damon Yandoka, the defender who started against the Ivory Coast, readying himself off the bench as we just finished with this check. And he's going to the screen yet again, Lucky Kasalirwe. Probably didn't think that he would have to use it this much, but the VAR have been inundated with requests to help out. Running through, and there did seem to be a tug on the arm of the striker from Yohan Molondoko, doing everything in his arsenal to prevent a goal from being scored. But it might just result in a penalty kick, because the challenge does start outside the area but carries on very much into it, and it ends up being something of a rugby tackle. You can see, don't be surprised if this is given as a penalty kick for Mali. Starting back from that move there, I don't think we have to go all the way back there unless there is an offsides, and it doesn't look like there is, or even a handball. Well, there it does seem to strike the hand, and now that might change the entire scenario. Well, they would have very much been within their right to call for a penalty kick had the ball not touched the arm of Soumaila Fane. But I think they might just get away with this one. Handball, says the referee. And despite the stop-start nature of this game, you have to give credit to the officials. They've really controlled this match absolutely correctly, and all the decisions, you have to give them credit where it's due. So more changes now, and Njikura Bomba comes off for Mali, unable to get on the score sheet again. Dertan Selombi, who seemed to be struggling with injury, he's off for Demonyan Doka. And a final change, also seeing Rondi Ketovaoma, the defender, entering onto the pitch, the number 13. Mali looking to stretch their opposition. And a very decent intervention there. Ananoto still full of running up top for the Central African Republic. So Mali, well, they just get picked off there. Titalom tries a very fortuitous effort. And that's the best save that Yanis Sako has had to make. Well, Titalon knew that that was pretty much his only chance of scoring a goal. And what a strike it was. Just dipping from a good 35 meters out. An excellent, excellent shot to force a corner kick with 9 men. And the header might come in. And they have to deal with it rather very well. Mali now looking to break. And the foul. And you can expect a yellow card here. Jerry Borote gets his name into the book now. You know how exciting this latest passage of play has been. Just as Dembele was looking to break, shoved off of it and lost his balance. A professional foul, if ever we saw one. There's no way that he would want to go down in that position, especially with so many options left and right. Mali, who are looking for their 5th win in 6 matches, having only lost out to Senegal in the recent 3-3 penalty miss for the Africa Cup of Nations qualification. And now they could be in here. Dembele looks for his options and goes across, and a strike over the bar by Mahamadou Traoré. Just powering into that shot and couldn't keep his body over it. Kept the line very well. Dembele playing it across to Fane, who let it go. And possibly could have done a little bit better with that. Traoré, another free kick now for Mali, who somehow still haven't breached the Central African defense since they went down to 9 men. More changes now for Mali as Mohamed Diarra, the forward, comes on. as well as the number 15, Yaya Fofana, for his first appearance of the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations. Diarra, who started the last match against Angola before being substituted. The number 19, and Yaya Fofana also coming on for his first minutes. The Africa foot player. Several of those in the substitutes bench today, as well as Raman Doumbia and Issa Kone. And his first task, Mohamed Diarra, be to help assist with heading abilities for this free kick being taken by the left foot of Seydou Dembele. He assisted against Angola for the first goal, but he goes full goal this time, and that's a bit of a waste. Neatly done there by Lamine Keita. There's no one there to help offer support. Keita, though, goes straight into the box. Has to be well headed by Damon Yandoka. Some chest control back to Timoko Berthe, who is now captaining the side after Issa Tunkara was substituted. Just a reminder of the score, 2-0, thanks to goals by Abubakar Kamara and Jikura Bomba. Goal kick here being taken by Usman Bingimal, who's had another star game for the Central African Republic. Going around the outside here through the number 11. This is very good stuff until it's headed out by Yandoka. Still kept alive, Yaya Fofana. Switches play now to this right wing, and there's no one on him, given the numerical advantage. Dembele goes to the top of the box. Still has it though, and Traore does very well to earn his side a free kick. They want to add some icing to this cake, and a set piece from this kind of position offers the perfect opportunity as the player's dream midfielder Mamadou Traore, the number 17, tried to go dancing through. And he's only been on the pitch a couple of minutes, but Mohamed Diarra, number 19, is a very interested customer. A right footer, of course. So it all depends on what kind of swerve, what kind of angle the team tries to go with from here. You do imagine that with all the minutes under his belt, Seydou Dembele will favor this. And this is a really fantastic opportunity to go 3-0 up. Here is Dembele, goes straight for goal, and again bangs into the wall. Frustration for the Malians. And at the end of the day, they're going to look back at this game and say they really could have done better. It might be 2-0, but the opposition really has shown themselves in a promising light defensively. The Central African Republic reducing the 2-time champions to just the 2 goals as we round off the normal time here in Morocco. The corner comes in though. Well headed out. Appeals for the hand. That's something that they might go back for again with the VAR. as we just stop play for another inspection of an injury. And we'll just see right here if there was, well, that was the header, and that was off the arm. It seemed very much of Ananoto. Hence the appeals. And we know the old adage, adding insult to injury. But if this does turn out to be a penalty kick, it really would be the exact epitome of that, as he doesn't face any further action. Ananoto, he's run his socks off, and in his place Luis McFoy comes on for his second appearance of the tournament. The 17-year-old midfielder who also came on as a sub against the Ivory Coast. That means that all of their substitutes have been made. Nine minutes, though, of allotted injury time, if you just weren't watching there. So many decisions being made by the referee outfit. And he seems to be okay, which is good news, Jerry Bogote. And it doesn't look like we are going to be going back for any handball. So the referee gives a drop ball to Yanis Sako. And Mali can start again searching for that elusive third goal. Haven't scored since the red card to Dario Ngombe that made it 11 players against 9. And there will be quite a bit of frustration that they haven't been able to capitalize off of that. That's a hard foul. Ball goes out wide now. Mali hoping to stretch the defense of the Central African Republic. Edwin Titalom, the number 8, just still trying to put some kind of pressure. But picked up and turned in the midfield. Now it's on the left wing. The delivery set to come in, and what an effort! Oh, off the bar, and this should be a third. We'll see if the flag goes up, but it doesn't look like it. Seydou Dembele on hand to just poke it in. Well, that was an absolutely incredible thunderbolt that cannoned off the upright, setting up Dembele for his first goal of the tournament. And we'll just see it here. The ball came in, played on and off the volley. All credit to the first shot. What a stunning effort from Yaya Fofana, the substitute, and then setting up Seydou Dembele. All a little bit tragic there as Ousmane Bingimal watches helplessly with his team now 3 goals down. The goal is awarded. No offsides in the build-up. And now let's just see if the Central African Republic can hold on. But there's 3-on-3. Yeah, Mali are in again. And another great save, and the goalkeeper forcing the shot out wide into the side netting. And I do apologize, it seems like the goal actually was chalked off in the end. We will just confirm that. But indeed it was. So offsides, and the score does remain 2-0, despite that glorious volley from Yaya Fofana setting up Seydou Dembele. So they come again here, the Little Eagles, looking to wrap this game up and secure not only their qualification for the knockouts, but for the World Cup as well. A thumping challenge on the young Wild Beast player. Just over 3 minutes of allotted injury time left to play. And they might not have scored a goal, they might be losing 2-0, and they might have 2 players sent off. But the Central African Republic have shown themselves well, and they can really be proud of their efforts up against a real dominant Malian side. One that's actually hoping to win the whole tournament. Looking to play through just around there. And some decent passage of possession play from the team in blue, just cut out. Headed back by the number 23, Evra Gengomba. Across the line from Dembele, but there was a player lurking. Now looking to go around the outside. No control in that pass as it went over the head of Ousmane Savane. Controlled by Titalun. And finally Mali looking to race through, and there should be a foul. Frustration not only on the pitch but in the crowd, where someone has taken it upon themselves to find a whistle and dictate the fact that injury time should already be over. Headed down, and either side really able rather to maintain any kind of consistency in holding on to the ball. And a poor pass summarizing the way that this match has turned. Yandoka rather plays to safety there. Back into the midfield, and final passage of play, you must think at this stage. Just a couple of seconds left of what's turned out to be a really curious game in Group D. Mali looking on course for that World Cup qualification spot and a chance to compete in the knockouts. They're going to be finishing on 6 points at the end of this game with 4 goals. 2 ahead of Angola, or rather 2 ahead of the Ivory Coast, and Angola with the 1 point. Central African Republic will be crashing out after this match, with just that final game against Angola to come. A final chance maybe for Mali to break the lines. It won't be coming. And the 9 men of the Central African Republic will see this game out. The final whistle, not quite coming. Still allowing a last-minute foray into the Central African half as Mali play it forward. And maybe we might see the ball coming into the box. It's blocked out and cleared. It's a case of when, not if, for the full-time whistle. still keeping possession as we near 10 minutes now. The ball pretty much on the halfway line, and there is a happy camp there on the substitutes bench. And finally, the end of the misery comes in the way of the whistle of referee Lucky Kasalirwe. It's finished 2-0 to Mali. They're through to the knockouts. They finished the group at the end of match day 2 on 6 points. They still have that game coming up against the Ivory Coast, but it's one which they can afford to rest their star players. It's also one which they can use to find out where their weaknesses can be fixed. As for the Central African Republic,